Hello and welcome to TIP International Radio. I'm your host, Leah Maston. We are showcasing prestigious top professionals from all industries all over the globe to share their experience and stories of success. We have a very special guest joining us today from Michigan. He is a famous trial attorney who has become a household name and has represented numerous high-profile clients such as John DeLorean, Dr. Jack Kevorkian, Mayor Coleman Young, U.S. Representative John Conyers, among many other high-profile politicians, celebrities, lawyers, and judges. This man is regarded by his peers as one of the nation's top trial lawyers of all time and is an honored member of the International Association of Top Professionals, IAOTP. Senior partner of Morganroth and Morganroth, Mr. Mayer Mike Morganroth. Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's really my pleasure. Mr. Morganroth, tell me, what first got you interested in the law and how did you pursue it?
Well, I was in the Navy for 2 years, from 17 years old to 19 years old. When I got out, I started college and pre-med to make my parents happy, but after a short while, I figured I shouldn't be doing that, even to make them happy, because I couldn't stand people in pain. Tried to figure out where to go from there. I really didn't know where to go, and I figured the only thing I really didn't know that much about, but maybe I'd be interested in, would be the law. So I started pre-law at that time. And I pursued it by, of course, continuing until I graduated. But during the period of law school, the senior year, I worked in a law firm that did nothing but appellate work. And in those days, there were only 5 lawyers in the entire state that did appeals, because there was no Court of Appeals, only a Supreme Court. And it was very complicated. So when I started to practice law, got my license, I already had a big clientele of lawyers and ex-judges who needed appeals and didn't know how to do it. So I did appellate work for the first 5 years, and then those lawyers started saying, you try the case, because they kept telling them how to create error and preserve it. And that's when I started trying the cases.
Well, you definitely picked the right path. Mike, with over 50 years of experience as a seasoned and trusted attorney, what would be some advice you would give to someone just starting out?
Well, I lecture at a lot of law schools, and I'm on the board of trustees of Michigan State Law School. And I do, when I lecture to them, tell them that you have one thing going for you as a lawyer, especially, of course, in the courts, and that's your credibility. Whenever you're in front of the court, for sure, you'll always tell the truth. You do not play games, because once a judge hears you playing games with the truth, you're through. They just don't believe you in the future and don't respect you. So the most important thing is your credibility.
That is definitely some great advice. Mike, you have been involved with many big cases, with many high-profile people like Dr. Kevorkian, who you represented for a very long time. Tell me about which case was your biggest accomplishment and which case was the most important for you.
Well, that's virtually impossible, because they were all the most important for me.
Right.
I handled the cases, of course, for Dr. Kevorkian. He was acquitted. The one I didn't handle, he was convicted, and then I came back in and represented him and got him out of prison, and then represented him until he passed away. And I'm the executor of his estate. So naturally, those were all very important cases, but also represented David Tenenbaum, and still do. He was the man that worked at TACOM, Tank Automotive Command, and who was accused of being a spy for Israel. And I represented him and went all the way into Washington in secret proceedings, and he was completely exonerated. But
wow,
it was a very, very difficult situation for him, and sort of ruined his life to a long period of time. And then, of course, there's many others. Coleman Young I represented, the mayor of the city of Detroit, the first black mayor of a major city, and I represented him all throughout, from the day he was elected to the day he passed away. And the the most important thing with him was when I got the government finally to stop trying to entrap him through Hoover and stop trying to ruin his reputation when I uncovered what was called the Frumention program that was brought into me by an FBI agent that couldn't stand it anymore. And it was a program to cause any head of a large city who was black, in those days colored, as much problems and as much, shall we say, entrapment as they could. And when they discovered I had it, they apologized and said he never did anything wrong, with a letter.
Wow.
To stop him from bringing a Bivens action.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cases, and all of them were the most important, frankly.
You have some incredible accomplishments and have made a big impact for your clients. Aside from running the firm, Mike, and all the responsibilities that come with that, you are also very active on so many committees and are a sought-after speaker and lecturer. You have also served as an entertainment industry consultant on several films and motion pictures. Tell us a little about that.
Well, the day before yesterday, at night, they had the premiere showing of the movie and documentary with Alec Baldwin in it that was done on John DeLorean. And actually, I was there with the producer. They had a mob sellout. It also was shown in Ann Arbor the week before, and it was shown in New York the week before in the premiere. It's coming out in June in the theaters. And, of course, credit to me because I gave them a lot of the information. But that's one of the movies that I've been involved in and still involved in. I also represented the writers and still represent the major writer for Motown music, and also involved in several other producers such as Backstory Entertainment and Beholders. Backstory is doing a movie on the liberation of Buchenwald. The first troop that went in was a black troop, and how they couldn't even carry bullets and guns because they weren't trusted, and how they saw these little kids that had hope, who were all bandaged up and cheering as they came in to liberate them. And this black troop that were street guys got hope from that. And then in 1995, when first interviewed, one was a president of the university, another one was a dean in the university, another one was a top cardiologist, another one was a top heart surgeon. They all had gotten hope and really shot up in the world, seeing that even these kids had hope. In any event, I was involved in the Kevorkian movie, and there was a person that played me in it, of course, and that was done by Beholder, who I represent, which is Steve Jones, who's doing several movies now. In any event, I've been quite involved in movie production, representation of the industry as well as the music industry. And still am.
That sounds like would be some very exciting and interesting projects to work on.
They are.
Throughout your illustrious career, you've won numerous awards, honors, and featured in magazines worldwide. This past year, you were honored at IAOTP's annual awards gala at the Plaza Hotel for Lawyer of the Decade, which I also hear you have won another award for their Lifetime Achievement Award, and were on the front cover of Tip magazine. Congratulations. What would you say has been the highlight of your career or most memorable experience that you have had to date?
Well, I couldn't do that.
Right.
However, one of the most important things and happy things for me is my son has been with me now 30 years. And he's as good as they come. And I got a daughter, same thing, who's been with me 26 years. Beautiful. My oldest daughter retired about 23 years ago when she had twins. But that's really highlights that they can join me, and it's like a family situation, the firm.
Oh, that's so neat. Well, that definitely is special then. When not working, what do you like to do for fun? Do you have any hobbies?
Well, I played golf for many, many years, but I tore my rotator cuff, so I haven't played much in the last 2 years.
Yeah, not so much.
Oh, yeah. Most of what I would do for fun is really be with my wife, and we do things together. We've been married now for many, many decades. And
get the number right.
I know the number exactly right. I don't know if I should tell you. 60.
Oh, yeah, all right.
60 years.
Well, congratulations. I think that's amazing. That's truly amazing.
And then, of course, in the practice of law, I used to go every 3 months for 18 days to London, Paris, Rome, Düsseldorf, Wiesbaden, Munich, and then to Cairo, and then to Abu Dhabi, because I represent the National Bank of Abu Dhabi. I represented JP, the Private Bank of Egypt, and I represented clients all over the world, so I had to do that. And that, to a way, to me, was not a burden, because it was a real, shall we say, enjoyment to be all over the world and looking things, and of course in places other people would never be.
Absolutely.
Especially in Cairo in those days.
Mm-hmm. Looking back, what would you say you attribute your success to?
I've been asked that many times, and the truth of the matter is luck and good timing. There are a lot of people with capability that just didn't get a break, didn't have good timing like I did, and the luck. I only became a lawyer because didn't think of what else to do. And the same thing with going to college even. When I got out of the service, I started to work for Velvet Peanut Products, and I was an assistant to the COO. And then one day, I stopped in the evening and meet 3 of my buddies who were going up to Michigan State to take the entrance exam. So, I'm off tomorrow because we're doing repairs in the office. I'll go up with you, and I'll play some pool or snooker. I'll pick up a game in the Union. So I went up there. They went off to take the exam, and then I thought to myself, why don't I go over and see what it takes? I was 19 to start college. So I went over there to see about taking the entrance exam. They asked me my grades in high school and my grade in the service exam. I told them, says, you're in. That's why I started college. That's why I think
definitely. It's like you just kind of stumbled upon it.
Right.
Oh, that's great.
I just want to thank you so much for joining us today, Mike. We are very honored to have you as a guest.
Thank you. It's my honor. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. And please, for more information on Mr. Morganroth, you can visit his website at morganrothlaw.com.